From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
Hi, this is Micah Halpern sitting in for Teisha Bader, and here is the JBS News Update for Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. Today, the school year opened in Israel, and about 2.5 million students went back to school on Wednesday, September 1st. Israel's traditional first day of school, even as the COVID-19 pandemic continued to rage on. Education Ministry Director Yigal Slovik announced that about 250,000 students were in quarantine and could not attend school. He explained, and this is a quote, "We must get used to living this way this year. The numbers will only go up, but most students will continue to learn in person, next to their friends, with teachers. 90% of the students are in school," unquote. Israel is very open about their COVID situation and statistics, and what happens in Israel has helped medical and scientific personnel around the world shape decisions for their own populations. It should be clear that COVID situation in Israel, that vaccines blunt the virus, vaccines do not eradicate the virus. Important distinction between blunting and eradicating. Israel is experiencing its fourth COVID spike. In an effort to stave off more cases, vaccines are readily available and strongly advised, and many Israelis have already received their booster, a third shot. What is clear is that blunting COVID means fewer deaths and fewer hospitalizations for high-risk people. Most recently, half of those Israelis who tested positive for COVID were double vaccinated, and few of them required hospitalization. Of the other half, the unvaccinated, many are fighting for their lives. Most of those people required hospitalization in Israel as a result of COVID are unvaccinated. Iran has a shadow fleet of oil tankers operating daily, shipping fuel to China. The Iranians are, once again, skirting international sanctions. About 700,000 gallons of oil per day is shipped from Iran to China. As part of a strategic support, China is assisting Iran in selling pirated oil. The Chinese-sponsored oil export allows Iran to maintain their regime's stability and inject foreign money into their state coffers. China is also helping Iran operate its shadow fleet so that tankers will not be detected. This, for example, is how they do it. Tankers transmit their incorrect location into the automatic identification systems, the AIS, which is required by international shipping laws. And tankers are repainted, and tankers' names are changed to cover their real identity. Another example, Iran's shadowy fleet of tankers change their flags with frequency. This move is backed by the global operational infrastructure set up by the Iranian Al-Quds Force, which includes a huge array of straw companies that Iran owns throughout the world. Iran is managing to inject much-needed money into its coffers, revive its economy, and continue its arms race to build offensive capabilities and complete its nuclear program, which is getting closer and closer to completion. In an unusual diplomatic moment, Foreign Minister Yair Lapid of Israel on Wednesday criticized the way the United States withdrew from Afghanistan, which led to the consequent takeover of the country by the Taliban terrorist organization. It is unusual for an Israeli foreign ministry, period, no less the minister, to comment on U.S. policy. Lapid said, "The withdrawal was botched. I think the whole world is worried. America first and foremost." Lapid continued, "This was probably the right decision, but the way it was done was wrong. I do not think we fully understand the implications of this move. This is going to have a big impact on Al-Qaeda and on ISIS." The AP reported that a group of Hezbollah fighters driving back to base after firing rockets into Israel last month were stopped by a group of angry villagers who smashed their vehicles' windows. It was a rare incident of defiance and suggested many in Lebanon would not tolerate provocations by the powerful group that risked triggering a new war with Israel. Lebanon is sinking deeper into poverty, and AP reports that many Lebanese are more openly criticizing Iran-backed Hezbollah. They blame the group, along with the ruling class, for the devastating multiple crises plaguing the country, including a dramatic currency clash and severe shortages in medicine and fuel and electricity outages. And here's a look at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, September 1st. At 7, a concert with singer Idan Raichel. At 7:30, on location in Guatemala with Eli Kohanim, speaks with former President Jimmy Morales and former Minister of Foreign Affairs Sandra Jovel about the president's decision to move Guatemala's embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and more. At 8, U.S. Army veterans Colonel Liam Collins, John Crowley, and Micah Jones describe their service in Afghanistan and the relationship to the country before analyzing and opining on America's withdrawal, a program of the MirYam Institute with Benjamin Anthony. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub leads part 1 of a panel of rabbis on the themes they believe are important to address in high holiday sermons, with Chaim Steinmetz, Lauren Grabelle Herrmann, and Marcelo Kormis. At 10, it's Jake Ehrenreich show featuring singer Julie Budd. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud with me, Micah Halpern. This is Micah Halpern and the JBS News Update. I want to wish everyone a good evening.